everyone, welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad. Alrighty, for the past 2 hours, here's what I've been doing. I have been creating a new planner for my Etsy shop. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do have an Etsy shop where I sell a lot of digital products for entrepreneurs, business owners, and just anyone who is into planning and productivity as well. So many of my digital products on Etsy are actually page inserts, all right? So I decided for 2026, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a complete planner where anyone can just print the entire PDF and it will be a complete set. It will be undated. However, it will be the entire year. So it's a full year planner that I'm going to do. It's the first of its kind for my Etsy shop, but I have many versions of this coming out. Like, I feel like there are different ways to go about a full year planner. So that is what is on my agenda, at least for the next couple of months. This is what I'm going to be working on. This particular one that I'm working on today will probably be released either today or tomorrow, depending on the final touches and how long that takes me to do. All right, so that is what I was working on for about 2 hours today, and we'll probably continue working on it for a little while today as well, and maybe a bit tomorrow, and then I think tomorrow I should be able to upload it. All right, so that is what I'm working on. It's a slightly different planner from what I have designed previously, but I am excited, and I have so many different versions of this coming up. That is also another thing that I am very excited about. I love designing. You know, me and my Adobe Illustrator, we are besties. So I love designing. The design and the format that I have in mind, especially for my Etsy shop, it's very clean, it's very minimalist design, and it's very, I guess I would say it's very black and white, but at the same time, it uses the least amount of your printer ink. So if you are someone who is into minimalist designs, or you want a planner that you can actually follow that doesn't have too many distractions on it, and you are someone like me, like as much as you wish to add color and designs, it's more of first focusing on the planning aspect of it and then later adding the colors or adding the, I guess I would say, the fluff to it. So if you are someone like that and you kind of need a structure to your planning, then I would highly recommend my planners, because they are the same format that I use for myself, and it has worked absolutely great for me and of course my brain. All right, so these are very minimalist design planners. They are available on my Etsy shop. I'll put the link in the description box below. Alrighty, so let's talk about what I wanted to talk about for today. I was kind of using my rough notebook, and I was like, why not I talk a little bit about this book, because I kind of introduced this fellow in the previous video that I posted, and I wanted to talk about the benefits. So for me, this one is the first A4 size rough, I guess I would say, business journal that I have kept. Previously, it was in a much smaller size. All right, and this one is retired, done. All right, I've completely used up all of the pages. Now, one difference that I did from this to this is that this one was an all-purpose rough notebook, I guess I would say. So everything, including, you know, my trip to Vietnam, everything, my business, thought processes about creating the Etsy planners that I had already designed in the past, then I don't know, there's some of it about my content ideas, everything and anything, including my personal life, my business life, everything was part of this notebook, and I kind of just jammed all of my rough thoughts into that. So one change that I made from this notebook to this one is that this one is exclusively for my business rough work. All right, so my personal rough work, there's another book for that. and I don't mix the two anymore. The reason for that is when I mixed all of it in one notebook, I found myself like when I wanted to go back to maybe trying to understand where was my thought process, like my brainstorming, or I usually draw diagrams when I am brainstorming. So I wanted to kind of go back and forth to that. It was a little bit difficult because in between I would plan some trip, or in between I'd be doing some personal, doodling or something of that sort. And it was just a mess. I would not be able to find what I was looking for. And in fact, it would take me a little bit of a longer time. So because of that, I decided that I would separate out my personal rough work. So if I'm planning trips, personal trips, or I am maybe even planning something to do with my cooking. There was even a cooking video write-up that I've done in this book where I'm like kind of brainstorming how I want it to go and all the ingredients and so on and so forth. So I kind of separated out the two of them, decided, okay, personal rough work, different. Business rough work, different, because first off, you're in a different mindset for both of them. All right, when you're in your business mindset, yes, I feel that you are a little bit more on your logical mind, your rational mind. You need all of those resources kind of pulled in. And when you are doing personal rough work, maybe it's a little bit more lighter. You're not that focused. Maybe you're trying to focus things, but you're not as focused as you would necessarily be for your business rough work. And I also think that you're a lot more serious, at least I am, when it comes to business rough work. And most importantly, when it comes to business rough work, I'm sorting out a problem that's in my mind. So I'm frustrated. I'm mostly anxious. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot more chaos than it would be, or than I would be if I were planning a vacation or planning something to do with my personal life, like maybe going and buying organizers for myself. Yeah, that's totally different mindsets, and when it comes to my business rough work, oftentimes there's a problem in my mind. I know there's a problem. I'm trying to find solutions to that. I need to get everything that's out of my head down on paper. So it's a completely different energy that I'm in, completely different mindset. So I decided to separate out the two. So that's my first tip to you, that first off, keep a rough business notebook or a journal. It can be anything. For me, I decided to go with a much bigger size just because there's just a lot that I write down and I want a lot of information on the same page when I look at it. However, if I have perhaps a notebook like this, I have to flip many, many pages in order to maybe try to analyze one solution. And I didn't really want that. I wanted to, kind of give myself as much of working area. Hold on. As much of working area at a glance as possible. So that was my intention for keeping a much bigger sized notebook for my rough work. Also, I told you I draw a lot, right? So I just need that space also to draw things. I'm drawing pie charts, Venn diagrams, and then sometimes I'm not able to express it in words, so I draw it out. That also has helped me in the past. So there are different reasons why I chose a much bigger notebook for my business rough work, I guess I would say. So first off, highly recommend it for your business, just because the reason why I decided to go for a rough business notebook is because in my strategy business journal, or my business journal as I call it, that's a little bit more neater. It's a little bit more systematic. And when you are in a very chaotic energy, you don't want to mess that up, right? You don't want to mess what you've written. At least I don't. And every time, I would flip between a very smooth and nice and very beautifully jotted down page, and then there's rough work, absolutely, crazy writing everywhere. And then again, I'm back to neat and strategic and very, very flowy kind of write up. And then again, I'm back to, kind of my crazy writing. I didn't like that. For me, first off, it kind of removed my motivation to write neatly all throughout. And I feel like that flip-flop energy was just not working for me as well. I'm someone, if my book starts out neat, I want to keep it neat till the end. If it starts out messy, then I will keep it messy till the end. That's just how my brain works. That's just how I've always been, even as a kid. And so just separating it out also helps me. I look at I showed it to you in my previous video, right? The green one, the big green one. It's so beautiful. Like that book, the moment I open it, I'm just so calm, peaceful. I know that everything's in a very beautiful and systematic format. And so that by itself puts me in a different mindset. However, the moment I touch this notebook, I know this is chaos. This is chaos, but I love the chaos, all right? So it's different energy, it's different mindset that I have to be in, and different approach as well. So what goes in my rough business journal? Everything and anything that is on my mind. Like for example, right now, I'm sitting with my Adobe Illustrator on my laptop, and I am actually like physically designing how the planner or how that page is going to look. I'm going to write down my jots. It's going to be very messy, and then there's going to be a lot of scratches. There's going to be, okay, I don't like this format, I'm going to go with that format. So there's a lot of everything that I'm thinking about at this point in time that goes into my rough notebook. And one thing about the rough notebook is that it most likely is going to disappear right after I finish this. Maybe I'll keep it for a little while, just like I have with this, because there's still a little bit of important information that I wish to transfer into my business journal, like the formal business journal. But other than that, the moment I do that, this is done. I'm going to throw this away. It's not going to be useful. And even with these planners that I'm designing, once the design is done, not really going to use it anywhere. It's done, it's online. I'm not going to reuse my thought process, but because the design's already there, I might reuse that design, but the thought process of how I got to that point of design, it's not important for me. So it goes into my rough work. If there is a lot of chaos within me, if there is something that's just very muddled in my head and I just need to put everything on some kind of piece of paper, that goes in my rough notes. So everything and anything goes. There's not one particular direction. Sometimes I just use half a page and it's so chaotic. I'll read this first and then see if I can put it over here, but whatever. It's very messy, it's very chaotic. Anything that's even, just a slight thought, sometimes there's ideas that just spurting in my mind and I just put it over here. And then there is a brain dump page that I do have in my weekly planner as well as my daily planner. There is a brain dump page, but the space for that is very limited. This one's more of a brain dump, but the idea is already forming to a bigger extent in my mind. So I just want to put all of those ideas in my mind and just put it on paper. Sometimes you also need to work out maybe the processes. So for me in particular, sometimes there is a lot of process that goes on behind the scenes. Even if I have to upload one Etsy product, there are a lot of steps on the back end. And for me, just the way that my brain works, I need all of these steps written down, all right? Otherwise, I miss steps, or I'm panicking at the back of my mind that I'm going to miss something, or I get overwhelmed because for me, I need to know how many steps are there. I need it on paper. I need it in front of me. Some people can do it from their mind. I am not like that. I need it on paper. And the more I have information in my mind and not on paper, I get overwhelmed. All right. And I don't want to put myself in that. Yes, I can function. Yes, I can move forward. Yes, I can absolutely upload the product without writing it down. But I don't want to put myself through that unnecessary stress. So all of that, because it's not necessary for me to have those steps written out anywhere in my formal business journal. So I just roughly write down the steps in my rough business book. And that's pretty much it. The moment I go, I just tick it. For example, there was one Etsy product that I needed to refresh, all right? I needed to change, I think, a few things in it. So from for example, 2023 to 2024, I needed to make few changes in those planners. So what I did was I wrote down all the changes that I made. I kind of made it like a table, like a chart. And then I put the individual things that I needed to change. And then I think that there were 5 different colors. So each of those colors, I listed it out. Oh, okay. My phone's ringing. Hold on, let me mute it. I forgot to do that, but I usually do it before the video, but Yes, okay, anyway, that's done. All right, so on the left-hand side, I wrote the different colors. There were 5 colors for that planner, and then I wrote the changes that I needed to make. So it was just like ticking, but it was a very rough work that I had put. And that's not something that I need to put in my business journal, because my business journal is gonna stay forever, or at least for a couple of years. I'm thinking of keeping it for 7 years, at least, each business journal, but that's just me. That's just my intention at this point in time. And I have business journals that I started out in 2019 with my starting process of it. And some of the details in those business journals have actually gone into my book as well. So yeah, anyway, that's a separate topic, and we'll get into business journal in the next video possibly. But for me, this rough note is anything and everything that, it's just brain dumping everything that's in your mind, anything that has to do with your process. Maybe you need it written out. I definitely do. That's just a me thing, but maybe you are like that as well. And for some of you, maybe you are able to do it without writing it down, but why put yourself through that unnecessary stress? Why put that extra pressure? Instead, make it as something that's written on paper so you can focus on the task that you're doing and just blindly look at your paper and then go for it. At least that makes my job a lot simpler. And I am constantly looking for ways to make my life simpler, not by skipping steps, but by using help outside of me, or by using tools and systems, and even maybe setting up processes on the back end to make my life simpler. This is what I highly recommend, just always constantly being in the mindset that, okay, this is the job. How can I make it a little bit lesser on my mental energy, on my physical energy, or even on my emotional energy as well? How can I lessen that burden without skipping steps, and just use the tools and resources that are around me so that I can rely on that and help make my job a lot more simpler, a lot more lighter on me, especially parts of it that are absolutely unnecessary for me to take on. Why do I want to take that on? At least that's my thought process. And that's how I've always been as well, even as a kid. It's not about skipping steps. I want to make that very, very clear. It's not about skipping steps, but it's about how can you make your life simpler. All right, so this is one way that I have that has made my life infinitely simpler. Like I said, when I jumped to this book, I kind of separated out from personal to business. That's just a personal decision for me. I think that there are 2 different mindsets that you're in when you're dealing with business rough work and personal rough work. So that was an improvement, I guess I would say, an upgrade of my thought process from that notebook to this one. And this one, I'm closer to the end. I'm on page 183 out of a 365, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I'm closer to the end of this book, or at least middle, I guess I would say middle. Right? And so far it has been an absolute boon. The size is something that I personally love. The A4 size, there's just so much that I write and draw in one single page, or in the 2-page spread, that I feel there's so much of information that I'm taking in, so much of information that I can see at one point in time. So I absolutely love that. But other than that, highly recommend this for your business, or even just your work. Like if you are in corporate, I would highly recommend, just having a rough book that is just for your business area or your career, or whatever that line of work is. Highly recommend it. It's just a lot of mental load that you're taking off of your mind and just putting it on paper, and then you can sort it out for your formal business journal. And that's at least what's worked for me and has continued to work for me. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. It's only, recently, I guess I would say maybe, I think I finished this book. I finished it, I think it was, hold on. I think it was a Feb or March of this year. I'm not sure. Feb or March of this year that I finished the first, it's not the first, it's many of them, but this one I finished in Feb or March, and I started this in probably March. And I gotta say, absolute game changer, separating out the personal and the business. Highly recommend that as well. All right, so this is me chatting up with you. I will get back into my planner. I should be finishing this up today or tomorrow. I'm not going to stress myself too much on it. It's going to go up when it's ready. And my next step is actually going to be writing down the processes that have to go, or I have to do before I set it up on Etsy. And that by itself is a very long list. I think that there are about, if I'm not wrong, 30 steps that I have to do behind the scenes in order to upload on Etsy. And so that by itself, like I said, 30 is a lot to keep on your mind. Might as well just put it on paper and then just look at it rather than keeping it all and putting it on my fingers and whatnot. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do next, and I wanted to share this. I wanted to do a little bit of a check-in as well. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good and on track. Maybe my next video will either talk about my weekly planner. I'm absolutely in love with this. This is kind of my daily planner. This is not my weekly one. My weekly and monthly one is a separate one. That's a bigger green book, which I think I've shown it to you in my previous video, but we will talk either about this or my business journal, depending on yeah, when I'm in the mood to shoot a video and what I feel like talking about. Okay, but one of the two. We'll talk about planners. I'll kind of dig deeper into each and every one of my planners. I don't really feel comfortable showing too much of it. I will probably try to show screenshots, but there's just a lot of personal information that I have on all of these planners. But maybe I can do like a setup video, like how I set it up for the next week or the next month. Yeah, I think that might be nice too. For me, I try to make it as colorful as possible. Yeah, but that's just me. It's a little bit unaesthetic and uncolor coordinated, but I love the process. I love how creative it makes me feel. So maybe I can show that. Maybe I'll show that. All right. So if you're interested, definitely let me know in the comments. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll do like just you know, walk you through my creative process. Like I said, it's not aesthetic. But I just love, you know, the colors and just doing whatever I feel like. Mine's more of, I guess I would say modern art. Very uncoordinated, but at the same time, I love it. So maybe I'll show that to you, all right? So let me know if you're interested in seeing that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you in my next one. Take care. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video. Catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.